Hello everyone, my name is Ren. Welcome back to the makeup review part of my channel. I have been losing subscribers for this past month, or it's like staying completely flat. Not that I'm all about the numbers or anything, but I think that's a pretty good sign that I need to buckle down and just give you guys like some pieces of really meaty, juicy content that people are always looking for, okay? Whether that be a makeup review or social commentary. So to be fair, I had a very crazy November because there's just so many things that I had to do in preparation for this beauty pageant that I'm participating in January. Truth be told, that's kind of been like my whole year. I've just been running around taking care of life, admin stuff, random new events. I've been on quite a few roller coasters and adventures this year, although it may not look like it from the likes of my socials, but trust and believe, I have been putting the footwork in. But I can whine all I want about how busy and tired I am. It's not an excuse, because at the end of the day, I signed up to be a YouTuber. This is what I wanted. This is what you guys or girlies are here for. So today I thought we could finally sit down and try on / review the new Alice in Wonderland and Bobbi Brown collection. Let me see if I can hold all of these in my hands. So as you can see, I picked up quite a few items, almost everything except for the primer. I found the card right here. So I got everything except the vitamin enriched cream and face base and the cleansing oil, because those are just, you know, Bobbi Brown's regular products with the Alice design slapped on it. But yeah, you guys, I was literally first in line on launch date at my local department store at 10 a.m. on a Friday because I work from home, so I can do things like that. But yeah, who doesn't like Alice in Wonderland? And I have to admit, I'm a sucker for, especially when luxury brands do collaborations with the beloved IPs of my childhood, essentially. I mean, unless the products are just so uninspired and uninteresting to me, I'm probably gonna pick it up. Yeah, I don't want to yap too much. We need to get into the makeup soon, but before that, I just want to quickly show you, they had a couple of gift with purchases on a first come first serve basis, to where if you bought over a certain amount of the Alice, you could get these extra little goodies. So I just wanted to show you, they're super cute. By the way, my entire purchase, like the eyeshadow palette, the face powder, cushion foundation, and the 2 lipsticks, because I couldn't even limit myself to one. I had to get both shades. So all of this came out to almost 40,000 yen on the dot, which means that I got both of the special gift with purchases. So first we have a Cheshire Cat mirror, which, to be honest, it kind of feels cheap. Like, it's literally just a regular, the most basic shaped hand mirror with the Cheshire Cat design printed on the back. But nevertheless, you guys know Cheshire Cat is my literal favorite, okay? I have a grayscale Cheshire Cat, essentially, as my pet in real life. This is my first time opening and looking at these up close, because I just haven't had time at all to properly look at or enjoy my purchases. But I also got this really nice spacious makeup pouch. This is actually huge, you guys. Look at how thick that is. That's gonna come in handy for travel. Okay, so the lady at the counter, like the beauty consultant who was helping me, she was actually really nice. I actually had a lot of fun just having her try a lot of the makeup on me in the chair for a while. I think she legitimately forgot, or maybe it just slipped her mind, that I qualified for these gifts with purchase from the amount that I spent, because she didn't make a move to include them in my order until I asked her about it. Because I remember she was about to send me on my way, and I was like, wait a minute, don't I get, you know, the hand mirror and the extra makeup pouch? She was just like, oh yeah, let me bring those out for you, good point. Like, she was trying to brush it off. But then I was a little confused, so I asked her, is it okay for me to get these items? I was just trying to check, or, you know, confirm that I didn't misunderstand the terms or something. So I was asking, like, wait, so I qualify for receiving the free gifts with purchase, right? And she was like, yeah, you totally qualified. You spent the required threshold of money. So yeah, let me just go ahead and pull out a few for you and put them in another bag. You know, nothing against her personally. Again, she was really sweet, but that kind of like really threw me off. And that's never happened to me before, actually, especially not in Japan. Like, I don't know, I think that's kind of a big deal, right? Like, I spent almost $400 and you forgot that I qualified for the free gifts, so you would have just let me go home without them, even though I have been waiting with bated breath for this launch date, like many other Bobbi Brown / Alice in Wonderland fans, I presume. So anyway, this is not, like, I'm not trying to bash her or anything, but that kind of put me off. I don't know if I'd be confident going back to that particular counter the next time I purchase anything from Bobbi Brown, which is probably not going to be for a long time, because like I said, Bobbi Brown only ever gets on my radar. I only ever purchase from Bobbi Brown when they collaborate with a childhood cartoon IP of mine. So case in point, this was literally the last Bobbi Brown purchase I ever made, which was their Powerpuff Girls collection. I don't know if this was 2 or 3 years ago by now, but yeah, and now we are on the Alice collection. Let's dive right into it. So I'm going to start off with the Weightless Skin Cushion Foundation with SPF 40 PA+++, and this is in the shade 01 Porcelain. Let me take the sticker off. So as you can see, I already swatched it, but it comes with this puff. And it kind of looks interesting. It's like a little domed sponge inside. So from the swatch, I remember a little goes a long way. So I'm just gonna press it once. It does have quite a noticeable fragrance. It smells very like herbal. So I have no primer on or anything, by the way. I only have a little bit of my Face Edition primer from Etude on my T-zone because I usually get oily in that area, but the rest of my face is completely bare because I just wanted to test this foundation on its own. So you can see that's a pretty flawless, smooth coverage. I barely had to blend anything. This is the left side of my face with foundation and the right side has none. So now I'm just gonna cover the right side. I literally only tap it once, applying medium pressure. You can see it's very, very full coverage, but very lightweight. Feels like nothing after it dries and settles. Get a little bit on my forehead too. Obviously it's too early to tell, but I really like that. I'll see if I can check back in a couple of hours. Just like the name suggests, it does feel really weightless, really lightweight. Yeah, I think it's a good match for my skin tone. It evens everything out and it looks like the texture of real skin. So not too shiny, not too matte. Okay, so let's move on to the powder. Wait, this is... Oh no, this is right side up. Oh yeah, because this is supposed to be that scene where she's tumbling through the rabbit hole. And one thing that I really like about the powder packaging in particular is that they feature the little French toast butterflies that you see throughout the cartoon. I don't think I've ever seen another Alice in Wonderland collab with a different makeup brand feature these particular characters. It's like such a niche side character, right? Because you expect, you know, the Cheshire Cat and the Red Queen, the Mad Hatter, and whoever, but I think this is the first time that I've seen a nod to these little French toast butterflies. So that's really fun. And then of course inside, it's fading a little bit because I have been using this powder here and there, but you can see there's that really intricate embossing of Alice tumbling through, oh my god, I'm blanking, through the rabbit hole. That's what it was. And oop, here's another, wait a minute. Okay, you guys, you're gonna think I'm insane because this is such small detail, but tell me why was the film for the cushion foundation like semi-clear, but then this one is completely clear? Like, what's with the little minor inconsistencies? This is what too many years of being a makeup reviewer does to you. You just develop this really sharp radar. So now I'm checking to see if these two are made in different countries, which I suspect they are if the packaging is different. Aha, yeah, see, the powder was made in the US, in America, and then the cushion foundation, I'm gonna guess Korea. Yep, made in Korea. That explains the discrepancy. But I will say I am happy about the fact that the designs are printed onto the actual covers. So these are not stickers. These are printed onto the covers of the compacts. For those people who are worried about, you know, I saw a couple of comments online with people worrying about the possible cheapness of the packaging. Just know that these are not stickers. The design is printed on there. I know that makeup brands have been doing a lot lately and kind of making us scratch our heads, but I don't think Bobbi Brown would do us like that exactly. So you can rest assured as far as the quality of the packaging and stuff. But yeah, let me go ahead and blot on some of this powder. So I typically don't use that much powder in conjunction with my foundation, but I will use it either as a touch-up throughout the day, like when I feel my skin getting a little oilier throughout the day, or I will use it to spot cover up some points in my face. Like I mentioned before, you know, the T-zone area, this is always a place of contention for me. I'll just put some on the middle there. If I really wanted to strive for precision, I would use a brush so that I could get into the crevices and stuff. But since I'm too lazy, I'm just going to use the puff that it came with. So this is a very, very matte powder. It's going to completely, like, not flatten out, but it will completely erase any area of your face that is shiny, that maybe you don't want the light to necessarily catch on that certain part of your face. So like, just for example, not that this is a huge deal or anything to me, but let's say that, okay, I noticed that there's a little bit of shine over here on this part of my cheek, and I don't want that to be noticeable or be emphasized in photos or something. I'll just take a little bit of the powder and dab it over that area, and it basically completely like cancels out. It removes the ability of the light to bounce off of that area of my face. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice powder. It's what you would expect for a luxury brand. Like very finely milled, very smooth and blurring. I don't think I said the name even. So this is the Sheer Finish Pressed Powder in, I think, also porcelain. The same name as the foundation. Let me see what it says here. Okay, this one is L11 Soft Porcelain. So yeah, I'm actually really impressed with this powder as well. I will just tell you one thing, that if it wasn't for the fact that this was an Alice in Wonderland collaboration, I normally don't go out of my way to buy expensive powders like this. I normally just stick with my drugstore favorites. But this is certainly not giving me any regrets, I can tell you that. So there was no blush or highlighter or anything of that sort in this collection, which I was kind of bummed out about, but at the end of the day, it's probably a good thing since I wasn't really supposed to buy any new makeup this holiday season at all. So I'm just gonna go in with my usual Dior Rouge Blush Color and Glow 287. This is the duo that went viral, and I realized recently that for whatever reason, this item is severely underused in my collection. And that's kind of unacceptable. It's really, really light, so that might have been like a reason, might be the reason why I just didn't reach for this as often throughout most of this year, but I don't know. I think since we're moving into winter, my skin is also getting paler by the second. Also, since I actively avoid stepping outside during the daytime. So I've been coming back to this because I feel like it gives me that nice, you know, not frostbitten, but chilly winter look. I forgot the name of that trend a couple of years ago, like the Frozen makeup trend or something. Not Frozen as in the Disney movie, but Frozen as in you look frozen. Anyway, so the purple highlight here is what I think makes the entire effect. Yeah, the purple is definitely the most important part of this duo. Sometimes I use the purple over other blushes as well. If I feel like using a darker pink blush or a more noticeable one, I'll just use this, and then I'll still dust some of the purple highlighter on top because it turns it into this like really, really beautiful soft iridescent shift. Okay, I just took a huge break to go get dinner and eat it, and now I'm on my winding down drink. So it hasn't been hours and hours, but it's like an hour and a half later, and I just want to say first before we move on to eyeshadow, look at how perfect my skin looks. Do you see that? Like, especially after everything has settled down, just the combination of this foundation and the powder and the Dior blush duo. I mean, look at how smooth and even that is. No crackling. Yeah, I think the base makeup turned out really great actually. I feel like I look just more awake and more rejuvenated than I did when I started this video. And it's the end of the day, so you know that this is a result of the makeup I put on. It's not because I just woke up from a good night's sleep or anything. Alright, so moving on to the eyeshadow palette, I think this is the most exciting item for most people. Well, actually, when I was talking with the beauty consultant at the counter, she told me that the face powder was the one that the pre-orders sold out for the fastest, which kind of makes sense because it's kind of like, I keep forgetting this is the right way up. I think it makes sense for the Asian or the Japanese demographic here because it's kind of like just, I guess, the quintessential item that most people would get the most use out of, and plus it has the Alice engraving in the powder, which none of the other items have. So for the eyeshadow palette, this is called the Alice in Wonderland eyeshadow palette. Okay, very creative. You know what? I like it. I like how straightforward that is. For the eyeshadows, they also have the really cute embossments on a few of the shadows. You can see some of them are already rubbing off because I've actually been using this nonstop for the past 2 weeks. But yeah, there's like the Eat Me potion bottle, the Mad Hatter's hat, stopwatch, and a cup of tea from the tea party. So yeah, but I think design-wise, this one is definitely the most exciting. It has the kaleidoscope confetti particles on the cover. This is not the first time that Bobbi Brown has done this confetti style cover. I think they also did it with their Pac-Man collaboration last year, which I didn't pick anything up from because I'm not that invested in Pac-Man. Oh, before I forget, are you ready? We have to peel off film on this one too. Can you think of anything in the world that is more satisfying than that sound? Especially if you're like, if you grew up in an Asian household and you have PTSD like me from your mom never wanting to remove the plastic off of anything, it scratches this visceral itch deep down inside me to be able to do that now with all of my items that I bought with my money. So I'm gonna start applying now. I've basically been using these 3 shadows right here relentlessly for the past 2 weeks, but today I think I might do like 2 slightly different looks on each eye, just so that we can use some more of the colors over here. Truth be told, I am a little bit sick of this color story, again, just because I've been using it so often these past 2 weeks, but I think you can probably infer from just the very fact that I've been using this so consistently, that means that I actually really do like the formula. There is nothing revolutionary in here. As you can see, it's just like a bunch of classic mattes and some shimmers. The red one, I already made a pretty decent dent in the pan. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, there's nothing revolutionary. It's literally just like metallic eyeshadow, matte eyeshadow, and that's it. Those are the 2 formulas I'm reading off the back here. There's no duochrome or anything like that. It just reminds me of like, I don't know. The first thing that comes to mind is the Naked palettes, you know, the classic ones that came out from Urban Decay back in the early 2010s, or I don't even remember when, but that kind of a formula, like very just pigmented, dependable, blendable, all of the colors work together. Like pretty much you can make these work for anyone, regardless of skin tone or eye shape or anything. It's just like very standard, dependable, reliable, classic Western eyeshadow formulas. So let me go ahead and prime first. So I'll make this eye the mauvey reddish eye, and then on my right eye I'm gonna put this caramel color down as the base and make it more like golden, I guess. I think this mushroomy taupe shade is so great. It could really function as a one swipe and go shadow for the days that I'm in a hurry, or just as a base transition color like I'm going to use it for today. Easy peasy, barely any blending necessary. And I'm just going to take some of this hat shade, which is called Mad Mauve. These do have a little bit of kickback, as you can see, the mattes at least, but it's fine because it's not the type of kickback that really like falls down all over your face. It's more just whenever you're picking the shadow up with a brush. Tiny bit in the inner third as well to create that classic halo outline. And then this is my favorite part, putting on the topper metallic shade. So I like to go in with a dense kind of flat topped brush like this. This brush is made of squirrel and cat hair, Japanese Kumano Fude brush, and I like to use that for the metallic topper shade. What is the name of this one? Fantastical. I think this is my favorite shade. Yeah, this is my favorite shade in the entire palette, just this reddish copper metallic color. That's very up my alley. I love a reddish copper, or like a rose gold situation, and I like to just press that in. So the metallics in this palette have a really decent sticking power. Like you can see even when I'm layering it on top of other shadows, it's staying put and it's like buildable, so you can make it really intense if you want to, which I'm gonna do today. Actually, why am I lying? I do this every time I use this shade. Yeah, I definitely like to go to town with this fantastical shade. I'm gonna use the Can Make Creamy Touch Liner in number 12. I'm just going to use that on my lower lash line. And then I'm going to go in with my literal new obsession, the DAZN Tear Bag Dual Under Eyeliner, or whatever it's called. Dual Under Eye Pen. It's funny how I just saw this in like a viral Douyin or TikTok, one of the two. I'm sure it originated on Douyin because it's a Chinese brand. But yeah, it's funny how I saw just your run-of-the-mill you know, viral Chinese product review one day. On a whim, I decided to buy it, and now I literally cannot live without it. It has superseded my Can Make Plum Puka Coordinate Eyes palette for under eye makeup. Well, actually no, I use both of these because like after I blend out the cream liner, I'll take some of the powder from the Can Make palette and set it, or else sometimes it tends to get muddy. I don't think it's the fault of this formula in particular, but like sometimes if I wear mascara that is not transfer proof or something, it will make this area look muddy. So I like to set it with the powder, and that typically keeps the area looking bright. Keeps the tear bag effect in full swing for the entire day. This combo, I'm telling you, is such a godsend for me when it comes to days that I have photo shoots or just any event where my picture's gonna get taken. I know that my tear bag makeup is not going to budge that day. And let me tell you, like the freedom and security that comes from that, okay? You can laugh all you want, but listen, we are in precarious economic times right now. My future, my career, everything may not be guaranteed, but my tear bag makeup is gonna be guaranteed, okay? And these are relatively affordable. Like, this is less than 2,000 yen for both of these together. Less than 2,000 yen for you to have the ability to step outside of your house looking like a literal Douyin doll every single day for as long as these last, which they last quite a long time. So, let me see this one. This video is not even about tear bag makeup, but since we're here, there's like that much left. That's gonna be good for at least another month. All right, so I'm gonna do my brownie. Okay, I'm just gonna put my eyeliner, lashes, and mascara on really quickly, and then I'm gonna do the right side of my eye. These three caramelly colors. It's just gonna be the exact same process as this eye, just with different shades. So I'm gonna stop talking now and try to speed through the rest of the eyes. Alright, so finally we've made it to the lipsticks. Let me see what these are officially called. Bobbi Brown Luxe Lipstick. Same packaging for both. Kind of this gold spiral with Alice falling down. Okay, I like this packaging. I think it feels very luxe, very department store, and I like the rounded edges, but I also think that the design is just kind of all over the place. The black stripe with the Bobbi Brown, and then the really busy Alice design covering the rest of the panels, but then the back is completely blank. I don't know, it's kind of like, but then on the cap here you have like the Bobbi Brown bee emblem, which kind of is supposed to be mimicking the crest of some prep school or prestigious college. Like, it just kind of feels like the Bobbi Brown aesthetic is a little bit all over the place. But anywho, that's neither here nor there. So they have two shades from this collection, both of which I really like. Actually, I tried them both out at the counter before purchasing, and I ended up deciding to get both. So we have Wonderland Rose, which is this really, really deep rosy pink. It almost reads as red on my lips. So I'm gonna attempt to do like half and half. The left side with Wonderland Rose, and then on the right side we will put Peach Paradox. I love that name. True to the name, it is indeed a very peachy beigey nude. Don't mind this random burn looking thing on my lip. I didn't burn myself, but it's just like this rash that sporadically appears on my lips ever since it started getting colder. I don't know if it's because the air is just too dry. I mean, I feel like I'm constantly moisturizing my lips, but yeah, this time around, like, actually I got not a full body rash, but pretty much like my entire bum and legs, so I can't show you. I got a rash after spending 2 whole days volunteering. Well, I got paid for it, but I signed up for this gig where I was supposed to like help out and be the receptionist for this Dubai real estate event thing that was being held in some luxury hotel in Tokyo, which I will do a live about later because that is a completely different topic. But yeah, I say all that to say that I got a rash all over my ass and my legs. Apparently it's spread to my lips as well, and I know for a fact it is because of this toxic energy that certain people were emanating at this event. But anyway, back to the lipstick. So let's try on Wonderland Rose. Okay, I forgot to mention I wore this a couple of times already, and it is a very, very pigmented lipstick. You barely need to tap it on your lips. Just that little bit alone is enough to completely opaquely cover your entire like natural lip color. Okay, maybe like one more tap on the bottom lip. But yeah, I love this formula. It's so pigmented and creamy and glidey. Everything that I would expect in a high-end glossy lipstick. This side we're gonna go in with Peach Paradox. Initially I was afraid that this shade would wash me out because I haven't really been into like the beige nudie lip look for a hot minute now, but it's actually clearly a different color from my actual skin tone, so I think that works really well. Let me blend this out. Okay, wow, that actually looks quite jarring because the two different lipstick shades in particular are so different from each other. But here's the reddish pink side, and then here's the caramel side. I feel like I need better light on this side. So honestly, I like the pinky mauve side a lot better. I feel like it just flatters my skin tone better as well. Also, this side of my face is more photogenic than my right side. But anyway, yeah, I kind of, to be honest with you, I kind of hate the caramel side, but it's probably because my blush on the right side is still this very pale pink. Like, it's meant to match the left side of my face. I should have done like a different, you know, warmer corally blush on my right side. But anyway, I didn't think that it looked bad when she put it on me at the counter, so I think it's just a matter of choosing a really good matching eyeshadow and blush to make this color work. But yeah, it's definitely very, very opaque. So yeah, that's my review of the Bobbi Brown and Alice in Wonderland collaboration. I love everything, honestly, and my biggest surprise was how much I really do like this powder, or how well it really holds up. At first, I was a little scared when I swatched it because it feels really, really dry to the touch. I mean, it is really dry. Like, it's it's one of those very dry, absorbent powders. I think it's definitely designed to like soak up the sebum and the excess oils in your face. It's designed for you to, you know, touch up your face makeup throughout the day, but actually once you like blend it into your skin, it just gives a very, very natural skin like finish. It doesn't give dry or flaky at all. Now obviously, depending on your skin type, this might perform differently on you than it did for me, but I love this powder so far. I was not expecting to be so impressed with a drugstore face powder. That was always a category where I felt like there truly was not so much differential between like a higher end brand and a drugstore brand. Probably partially because powder is just not all that important to me in my makeup routine as a whole. But yeah, pleasantly surprised, and everything else checks out as well. Okay, let me get a little shot holding all the makeup items if I can balance them for the thumbnail. And then I'm gonna take off this side of the lip and just put the Wonderland Rose on because it's throwing me off looking at this two-faced Harley Quinn situation in the viewfinder. So now I'm gonna redo my lips, and we're gonna come back for a little rant that might piss some of you off, but honestly, I don't care at this point. Okay, we are in the last month of Year of the Snake. You know, I just have some things that I want to talk about, like some observations that I made at the initial reaction, at the Western reaction in particular to this collaboration, namely in response to the neutral color scheme of the Alice in Wonderland eyeshadow palette. I have some very not harsh things to say. My goal is not to be harsh or nasty about it, but okay, you know what, let me go take a break and then we're gonna come back and regroup. All right, so I'm back. My lipstick is one color and this is so less distracting. This is so much better. I feel so less distracted. But yeah, I just have a few comments I want to make about like the Western reaction that I often see to whenever, well, honestly, these days, it seems like whenever any high-end, like, classic luxury brands collaboration put out any sort of new makeup collection, but particularly when it comes to collaborations with famous IPs such as Alice in Wonderland, okay? Such as, you know, Powerpuff Girls from yesteryears. And again, I'm not pointing this out to, like, try to ridicule or mock anyone, but I kind of just want to give a reality check to certain people because I feel like they just don't get it. So who do I mean by they? So I, like many people, follow Trend Mood to keep up to date with the latest makeup releases, right? And every time there is news about a department store luxury brand, you know, like when I say luxury brand, I mean the type that is available worldwide. Okay, I'm not talking about like Natasha Denona or Huda Beauty or those brands that are luxury but they're only really available in a certain part of the world. You know, like Huda Beauty is big in the Middle East and North America, but it doesn't have a presence here in Asia. I am talking about the brands that have a global presence. So basically like the beauty lines of all the classic, you know, European old fashion houses like Dior, Gucci. Now we have Louis Vuitton Beauty, right? And Bobbi Brown as well, because remember Bobbi Brown is under Estee Lauder. So Estee Lauder is another such like OG luxury brand with a global presence. Whenever Western makeup beauty outlets such as Trend Mood report on new up-and-coming collections, particularly if it's of a luxury brand with a global presence like I was just describing, I always see without fail the same pattern of comments, people commenting under the post, and it's always Western commenters, right? Like those based in Western countries, not necessarily all Caucasian, but you know what, let's just make it even more general. People who live in non-Asian countries, most of the time there's a lot of complaints about how, oh, this is so boring, like why would they put such neutral colors for such a colorful IP? Like if you're gonna do Powerpuff Girls, why wouldn't you do, you know, a green and a yellow and an orange eyeshadow to represent all three girls? Like why would you just do this generic ass, you know, neutral eye palette that don't even fit the theme of Powerpuff Girls in their minds, right? I'm gonna tell you the very simple reason. I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this, okay? The reason that luxury makeup brand collaborations never really produce anything that's quite like bright or colorful or fun enough, things that are determined as desirable in the eyes of an average Western makeup consumer, is because you are not the target demographic, babe. Okay, you want to know who the bulk of the customers for these brands are, like the Dior Beauties and the Chanel Beauties of the world? It's Asian consumers. Okay, when they make these beautiful limited edition one-of-a-kind collections like Alice in Wonderland, even though I know that like in the average Western brain, you're used to being like the center of the world. You assume that just because like Bobbi Brown is originally a Western brand or Alice in Wonderland is originally, you know, a Western or like a British story, you assume automatically that that means this collection is made, like tailor-made specifically for you to satisfy your wants and satisfy, you know, your makeup addiction, but it's actually not. And like, I'm sorry to break it to you, but the Western consumer is actually not that big of a consideration, if at all, when it comes to the decision making that goes into these collaborations with luxury brands, okay? And this is not me pointing a finger saying, nah, 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 boo boo, this is not for you, this was made for Asian consumers. Like, I'm just saying, numbers wise, think about it, right? Asia is a huge market, and just the sheer population size alone of all the Asian countries combined, it's not a comparison whatsoever to the Western market, right? So I think people in Western countries, yeah, of course, Asian people of Asian descent might be a minority in those countries, but on a global scale, Asian people, and by extension, the luxury makeup consumer base that is in Asia is vastly larger than the luxury makeup consumer base in the US. So I don't know the exact numbers, okay? I am not a data scientist, but let's say that 100% of the people who are interested in this Alice in Wonderland collection bought it in the US, but only 10% of the Asian consumer base who was interested in this collection ended up buying it. That 10% of the Asian consumer base here in Asia, so we're talking Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, okay, all the Southeast Asian countries, China, Taiwan, 10% of that consumer base vastly outnumbers even 100% of the, let's say, like the entire North American consumer base. So therefore, based on those numbers alone, who do you think the Bobbi Brown brand or the Chanel Beauty brand, you know, Dior Beauty, who do you think they're going to prioritize and cater to? The Asian consumer market, okay? So it's just funny to me how lost this is on the average, well, I don't know if I can say the average Western consumer, but the people that I see always making those comments year after year under collection after collection, like they're always griping about, oh, like why would you put out a neutral color story with this IP? And it's like, babe, that's because you were never even a consideration in the decision-making process for this collection, okay? Again, this is not to be nasty, but I am shining a light on the delusion that a lot of Western consumers still have in their minds, to where like year after year they don't get it. I feel like it's not clicking in your heads that you are not the target demographic for these collections. You think it is because you think that the brand names, like the brand origins of Chanel, Dior, Bobbi Brown, Louis Vuitton, you're like, well, these are all Western names though. These are like Anglo-Saxon. Obviously, it's catering to Western people, to white people. It centers us. That's not the case, okay? Numbers-wise and statistics-wise, the people that are always like looking forward to and collecting these collections, the vast majority of them are Asians, okay? Whether it's the crazy rich Asian class or just a working girl like me, right? That's who these collections are made for. That's why they're never gonna go out on a limb and put like too much of a bold color story out there. So yeah, people who understand like basic economics, I'm sure will totally agree with and not be offended by what I'm saying here. But just certain Western consumers need to stop being delusional and stop complaining essentially on collections and products that, I'm sorry, but you are not even part of the consideration. I'm not going to say these brands don't care about the Western market at all. No, they have like targeted, research for each region, but numbers wise, the Asian vote, okay, the Asian consumer preference far outweighs that of the Western consumer. This is just the pink elephant in the room that I feel like never gets addressed, because the brands are never gonna respond explicitly to those types of like disgruntled Western consumers by saying that, well, actually this was made mainly with the crazy rich Asian consumer in mind, as opposed to, the average US or Canadian consumer. They're not gonna say that because that would bring even more heat and possibly get them canceled. So the brands stay silent, but then if nobody says it, it's just fascinating to me how a certain subset of Western consumers, like they are so used to being the center of attention, they are so used to centering themselves and like seeing themselves as the main character in everything, that they cannot even conceive of the fact that maybe they are not the main target demographic or something. It's kind of like when like when luxury brands started to really hop on the Chinese New Year limited edition collection train. Like every time Chinese New Year's rolls around, Estee Lauder and Gucci and whatever, all these brands started to come out with some sort of zodiac themed collection around the time that Chinese New Year's rolls around, which is usually February or January. And then like, again, you get a bunch of people in Western countries who it's like, okay, the brands like never asked you anything. They never sent surveys your way for this collection. This collection is for the Asian market, okay? Like all the Asian countries that celebrate Lunar New Year and the zodiac and whatever, like me, I'm included in that as well. You guys know I'm very proud of being born year of the snake. And so it's like, I don't know, it's just embarrassing for me to watch, and I feel like somebody needs to call them out for it, and I'm gonna be the one. Okay, I'll be the villain, I don't care. It's just embarrassing to watch because it's like they comment and they make all these disgruntled, complaints about how the collection doesn't measure up to their Western ideal of what would be an exciting makeup launch, when it's like nobody asked for your opinion in the first place and nobody cares about it, quite frankly. And again, this is not me like trying to be mean or saying that it's right or that I agree with this necessarily, but it's just business and marketing 101, right? Like, who are you going to cater to and try to satisfy the needs and the tastes of the most? It's going to be the group of people that make up the largest percentile of your consumer base, which is Asian people. So we're like people residing in Asian countries. So when you criticize the color schemes or the themes that they come out with, that these luxury brands come out with these types of collections, it's giving very much like she doesn't even go here. It's like if I were to walk up to some random, I don't know, group of people that are in a soccer club, meanwhile me never having played soccer a day in my life and not even being a part of their group, and I try to advise them on how they should, I don't know, handle the rotation of their members so that everyone gets like a fair shot or a fair amount of time playing. I don't know, this is not the best example, but it's like if I walked up to a group or a team that I'm not a member of and try to insert my opinion or my criticism of whatever choice they decided to make, they would look at me like I'm an alien, and rightfully so. So yeah, I just want you to know that that's kind of how Asian consumers, the target demographic of a lot of these luxury makeup brand collections, tend to look at Western beauty reviewers or consumers whenever they complain like this about these collections. And yeah, that felt good. That felt good to get out. Because listen, I still watch a lot of beauty reviews. I watch a lot of Western creators, you know, no hate to them at all. There's a lot of them that are very good at their job and they're still very entertaining. But it just always makes me chuckle a little bit whenever they try to insert this like very, very irrelevant, very not considered at all opinion of theirs on luxury beauty brands. You know, like when they criticize YSL too about, oh, why are their blushes so sheer? Well, it's because that's the style that's popular in Asia. And that's what actually, even I agree that that style, the sheer blush style, it looks good. It looks more natural. It fits the makeup that we prefer in general over here, over the Western makeup trend of like everything being opaque and super pigmented. That is not what's considered the popular makeup style here. You know, we are all about like the Douyin, the glass skin. It's a completely different landscape over here. Even the Western content creators that, even if they're doing it in just like a matter of fact or respectful tone, I kind of just want to pull them aside though whenever they try to mention this thing about, oh, you know, YSL, I expected better from them, or like Gucci Beauty, I really expected more pigmentation or whatever. I just want to pull them to the side and be like, babe, I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. Your opinion is actually not really sought after, not really being considered here at all, really, by these large luxury beauty brands, because they know the Asian luxury makeup consumer base is what gives them their bread and butter. So therefore, like, you sound stupid trying to insert your irrelevant opinion as a Western consumer with Western tastes, you know? Not saying that it's right, again, but like just the delusion and the inability to grasp that you are not the center of the conversation in any given situation never ceases to amaze me. All right, I'm done being a see you next Tuesday. I hope you liked the makeup. I regret nothing, even though I said I wasn't going to buy any of the holiday makeup releases this year, just in the interest of, you know, saving money. I regret nothing. I feel like I 100% made the correct decision to invest in this collection because the quality is amazing. I love the design. I love this kaleidoscope palette cover. I think everything about this collection is a home run for me. It may not be for other people who are looking for like the next rainbow. It may not be for you. If you're somebody who's into like a Pat McGrath Mothership palette or the Danessa Myricks, like super pigmented, you know, 5 different types of multi-chromes, that's amazing. Okay, there are so many other brands that can provide that for you, but it's not going to be Dior. It's not going to be Bobbi Brown. It's not going to be Chanel, okay? All of these brands, I'm sorry to break it to you, but they prioritize the Asian market over the Western market, period. And yeah, it's about time that someone just came out and gave it to you straight. So yeah, Western consumers, you're not the first priority in this particular situation, you know? The Asian consumers are. You are considered more of like a secondary consumer. It doesn't feel great, right? Well, welcome to how it feels being a person of color or a minority in everyday life. You know, be thankful that you're only experiencing this in the very, very niche situation of wanting to buy limited edition luxury holiday makeup releases. It's nothing personal. It's just, again, numbers. The money that is to be made from Asian consumers far, far exceeds the amount of money that they can make off of Western consumers with these collections. So it just is what it is.